Melo is money. He proved that in NXT, and now he's working to prove that on the WWE main roster, SmackDown style. Carmelo Hayes won the top prize, the big championship in NXT. Drafted to SmackDown, he's now getting an opportunity to wrestle for a WWE main title by qualifying for WWE's premium event, Money in the Bank, which gets you a title match. If you win it whenever you want, wherever you want, you can just rule the world with it. It's one of the best pay-per-views going out there, and one of the best prizes, and that match is awesome, and he is now a part of it. Carmelo, look, I'm going to talk about Money in the Bank, but I first got to ask you this. Florida Panthers, NHL Stanley Cup champions, first time. They beat the Bruins to get there, but I'm wondering, you're a Boston guy. What about those Boston Celtics, baby?
I was gonna say a little give and take. You know, we'll take the we'll take the trophy over on the NBA. Y'all can have that one.
See, I'm wondering, and we're gonna get to Money in the Bank right now, but I feel I say this. When the Celtics won the championship, though, it was so funny because before celebrating in Boston, they came down to Miami to celebrate for a day. And I'm curious, Melo. You're not too far from Miami. Kofi Kingston's not too far from there. Were you guys celebrating in South Beach with your Celtics?
I think we were at TV. I think I was already in Chicago. But I wish I could. But you know what? The good thing about the Boston teams is there's going to be so many more opportunities to celebrate, so many more parades.
Oh, that's cool. All right, Carmelo. So Money in the Bank. This is such a cool event. It's going to be in Toronto. Fans there are crazy. That'll be awesome in itself. So what are your thoughts? Get into the main roster, put a stamp on yourself right away. And look, the company is saying, hey, Carmelo, look, NXT, we believe. Now we're believing you on the main roster. They're putting you in this big match right here. So what does it say for your mindset and this type of match? This is a different type of match.
Yeah, I mean, for my mindset, it's been the same thing since I got to main roster. It's just proving everybody right. You know what I mean? The powers that be that trust me in these positions is proving them that they got the right one. And that I will live up to the occasion every single time. You know, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. And as far as Money in the Bank goes, I'm just extremely focused. There's still two people that we don't know who are in it. I'm looking at the total landscape of everybody in the match so far. And it's very unpredictable. I mean? I haven't been in the ring with a lot of these guys. I've been in the ring, at the Royal Rumble with Andrade and Jey Uso quickly. I don't know fully, everything there is to know about them, but by the end of I guess tomorrow and Monday, I'll have a pretty good scope on exactly who, and what I'm dealing with in Toronto.
And in that men's qualifying match, there's also a women's qualifying match as well for their title opportunity, which will be cool. But in that match, as you mentioned, Jey Uso, Andrade, Chad Gable, two more to come. It's going to be July 6th, streaming on Peacock, and it's from Toronto. I'm curious, Carmelo, when you're preparing for a big match like this, do you watch them more? You haven't competed against them, so are you on watching the video, watching things that they've done and are doing?
Yeah, I had spoken about this a little earlier, is that, the best thing that I can do that I think is a little different than what a lot of these other guys are going to do is I'm going to study the field of exactly who's in the match. And I'm going to find out what their weaknesses are. I'm going to find out what their strengths are. And I'm going to wait for them to slip up. And I'm going to try to capitalize the same way I did against Randy on Friday. And I'm almost positive that, a lot of these guys, they're looking at me like they're not really taking me too serious just because, I'm brand new on the main roster. But I think by the end of it all, a lot of people are going to really, start looking at me a lot different when I win that Money in the Bank.
Well, you see what's going on with Chad Gable. I mean, that Wyatt Six is on his tail there. I don't know what's going on there. Are any concern that the Wyatt Six might get involved here and you just got to avoid, try to navigate through them, do some dribbling, do some cross-checking, something?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It feels good right now. It's not my problem. You know what I mean? It's a problem that Chad has to figure out and figure out why they're coming for him and why they're on him. But I'd invite them to come in and take him out the match. That'd make our lives a lot easier.
That's strategy. Melo's got it down already. Great job. That's so good. Hey, there's so much going on in WWE always. And yeah. I'm curious because we're all talking about Money in the Bank, but also in August, Florida. I'm in Florida, so Florida guy, South Florida. And there's a lot going on there, too, Raw is going to be at the Ameribank Arena on Monday, August 19th, and that's home of the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Ironically, that all happened. But then SmackDown is coming to Orlando that same weekend. Friday Night SmackDown will be August 16th, and it will be in Orlando. That's on Fox TV, obviously. So, and then you got a couple of shows in between. Lakeland, Florida, which I think you would know with NXT, and then also Fort Myers Estero has some shows that weekend as well. Being an NXT guy and working that Coconut Loop, that Citrus Circuit in Florida, what is it like too now to be on the main roster and coming back to Florida and wrestling on shows there as part? Yeah, hey, it's not going to be 300 fans, which is cool. It's cool. I love the setting there. Haverdale Fence Center for Pierce. But what's it like now coming back to the main roster?
I mean, I don't know yet. We haven't done it yet. So, I'm looking forward to that. And, I think it's just going to be like any other show as far as, my mindset, my attitude, coming in, just trying to kill it and trying to, show out and do what I do best. I'm not going to really focus too much on where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's the same agenda no matter where I'm at. So no matter if I'm in Lakeland or if I'm in Orlando at the Amalie or the Kia Center or whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah, they made the change recently. A lot of these places make the name changes and all. So, hey, that's something you said about just going wherever and doing your thing. But I'm curious with NXT and that Florida loop and you guys traveled around too, and you have had big matches, of course. How important in your development, because you were an indie wrestler before that, was NXT and the WWE Performance Center in Orlando to you?
My development, very important because, you come from the indies and you come with a lot of bad habits. Because, at one point you're working with people who are trained from, everybody and anybody. And everybody has a different mindset of how to do this, and everybody, moves different and, just thinks different. And then you come to the Performance Center and you're able to kind of have one mind. And sometimes, to put on the best show, everybody's got to be like-minded in a certain way. Especially when it's WWE, the product is heavily sports entertainment. I mean, it's not so much so, we're not wrestling for ourselves. We're wrestling for, the millions around the world at this point. So, I mean, benefiting from being at the Performance Center has helped my game tremendously. I learned a lot of fundamentals, I guess you could say, prior to WWE, but really owning in on the WWE aspect of what we do.
So you're glad Christian Casanova has evolved?
Absolutely.
And then speaking of NXT is going to be in Fort Pierce on Friday, August 23rd at the Haverdale Fence Center. Always a great time, always cool event. They always love Carmelo Hayes anytime he came to Fort Pierce. So that's always a fun time there. But hey, Carmelo, I got to ask you this. This has been on my mind. So you're a Boston guy. You're a Massachusetts guy and all. Would you consider yourself right now the most famous person from Framingham High School?
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't really keep track of that, but yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I think you are, Carmelo. That's not so sure. David Blatt went there. There have been others that have gone there. Blatt coached the Bulls. Wait, who do you know? The Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron, but still. And there's others. There's baseball players and football players and just other people involved. But I'm looking at that list and I'm saying Carmelo Hayes is right now. He isn't even before he becomes WWE champion someday. He's the man from there. Hey, but I am wondering, what was your time like there? Were you into athletics there? What it was like growing up in the area and being a part of that high school? Go Flyers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I mean, so when I got to high school, I was very much so focused on trying to be, the best, and I wanted to wrestle. I wanted to play football. I wanted to play baseball my first year. And I ended up, kind of just going down the wayfare of like, trying to chase girls and trying to hang out with the wrong people. And, yeah, what I mean? And I'm honest about it. I really do wish I kind of like used my time, more wise in high school. I kind of was, messing around. I really wasn't taking it too serious. Prior to high school, though, I was killing it. I was playing every sport. I was playing baseball. I was playing football. I was wrestling. I was doing track. I was focused. But, in high school, I really didn't care too much. I didn't care about academics. I didn't really care about anything. And, now looking back, it's funny because I'm like, oh, thank God I made it. I'm okay. But, it could have been a lot worse. So, high school was kind of like it was a growing period in my life. I don't really look too much further on that.
Yeah, and the thing is, and too, I won't too. We only have a few more minutes, but I just want to touch on this then. Interesting that you said that. Did pro wrestling help turn your life around in that regard and get you focused and get you going? Because you competed on the indies there, got your training up there and too.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because like the high school period was when I wasn't into wrestling at all. WWE, you know what I mean? That was the period where I completely forgot about it. And like I said, I was just chasing girls, hanging out with the wrong people, just getting in trouble. And then once I got out of high school, one of my buddies was like, hey, come try out. They got a 1-day like little fantasy camp where we can hit the ropes and get in the wrestling ring. And then I remember just going like, hell yeah. And I just never stopped from there. So it did in a lot of ways kind of put me on track, on the right track, and like set me up for success in my future.
Now, are you getting ready for all the ticket requests, especially in Boston, when you go to Boston and wrestle and get everybody there just wanting tickets, Melo?
Yeah. I mean, you know, people are coming out the woodwork, of course, but you know, I got a couple few people that like are really, you know, that really have been with me through the whole journey and through the whole ride that, you know, are priority. And I always take care of those people.
And lastly, just again, Money in the Bank, July 6th, streaming on Peacock. It's from Toronto. I mean, that's going to be, it's so electric too when the fans are so invested and so interested live, even watching on TV or streaming. It really makes it cool. And that's the good thing. And WWE Universe is great. WWE is great. So many good things going on. Carmelo Hayes is part of that, which is awesome as well. He rose from Breaker, Dragunov, some of the latest that have come up from NXT and all and expanded. Really cool. I'm just curious because you mentioned about all that. We'll end it with this. What has family thought of your rise to success and what you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is something that over time, you know, even when I was a little kid, I had predicted that I was going to be here. So it's so wild. You know what I mean? It's more just so like, you know, we knew, you know, a lot of people, we knew you were going to do it. And you know, I mean, now at this point, it's just kind of like, you know, now where everybody's getting to kind of get the fruits of the labor in a way where it's like, you know, the enjoyment of seeing me successful in something that I grinded so hard for. You had mentioned earlier, you know, just being on the independents and just sacrificing so much. There's been times where, you know, family members have even just kind of said, hey, man, like, you know, you got to figure out something else because this wrestling, you know what I mean? You're sacrificing too much. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to, you know, maintain real life if you just keep giving up so much. So it's a lot of people now kind of being able to accept that, like, all right, you finally did it. You made it.
Good for you. Good for your confidence. Good for your success. Keep improving. Keep working. Hey, Austin or Rock, or am I missing one? Who are you with when you were growing up? And we'll wrap it up. Hang on. Wait a minute now. Carmelo, you got to say something. I'm transferring over and we'll do it again. Yeah. So who you going with?
The people's champ, the final boss, the great one.
Thank you, Carmelo.
Thank you. No problem, man. Thank you.